Being an artist can be an unpredictable profession. Many creators don't have a full team to depend on, meaning most, if not all artists, fly solo. This gives them the freedom to not be bogged down by tight deadlines or limited creativity. With corporations relying more on AI art, many artists believe they'll be replaced by it, along with nonsensical choices being made by Twitter and other platforms. It can be difficult for an artist to sustain themselves. Some are desperate to escape dangerous living conditions, face homelessness, or need emergency support for rent, medical bills, and other expenses. The ambitious nature to satisfy these demands could make them privy to scams. But what happens when the consumer is being swindled? What happens when the artist you commission fails to deliver the products you paid for, and what you get in return are a handful of excuses or pleas to cash out extra money? Well, you get cases like Julian Ingram, aka Wolfgang XO, who I found has a history of scamming worth over a decade. The amount of money they owe is estimated to be around $10,000, which is a staggering amount of money to owe to anybody, let alone a collective of people. I'm going to be covering some of the stories that came out, in addition to the many names Wolfgang has made for themselves throughout the years. So allow me to tell you about Wolfgang's many masks. These scamming allegations were brought to my attention when Wolfgang participated in the Twitch Rivals Legacy Showdown tournament for Street Fighter 6, where players like Mena RD, Punk, and Justin Wong participated along their respective teams. There were odd choices like Knuckle-Doo and Wolfgang being on Team Multi-Game Gods. For those like Sonic Fox, it makes sense. I thought Wolf primarily played Street Fighter until I checked their Wikipedia page and saw they played Guilty Gear, but in my opinion, I still think it's an odd choice, since I'm sure Wolfgang is mostly known for playing Street Fighter. I checked the Wikipedia page for the event and remembered Mena RD was also on Team Multi-Game Gods. The other games he played include Injustice 2 and Strive, while Knuckle-Doo was just only Street Fighter. I'm bringing this up because Chris G was supposed to participate in the event but was suddenly dropped with no reason. I suspect he was supposed to be on Team Multi-Game Gods, which would make more sense. I asked Chris G about it and he said he never got an answer why he was dropped from the event despite doing nothing. I honestly think he got dropped because of those comments he made about gamer girls or whatever on Facebook several years ago, which was also why he was dropped from Evil Geniuses. I touched on these comments before in my FGC Criminals video and I share the same sentiment even now. What he said was ignorant and he shouldn't have said it. It's been years since then and he's apologized for saying it. Unless Chris starts making these kinds of posts on the regular, the people in charge shouldn't keep shafting Chris from future opportunities. At the very least, Chris deserves to know why he was suddenly removed from participating in Twitch Rivals. At the time, these came off as rumors, little blurbs here and there with nobody giving any details. After the tournament, I didn't hear anything about them as I don't keep up with Street Fighter or its players, unless it's the occasional tweet made by Punk. The topic didn't pop up again until I saw a tweet by Rushdown where he said the following: "If you still fuck with Wolfgang after the Lolicon porn shit, and the scamming, and then the other Lolicon porn shit, and then the other scamming, and then the other scamming, you're weird." Seeing as Rushdown brought this to everybody's attention, let me bring your focus to what Rushdown dubbed the Lolicon porn shit. I want to list off a few things before I start. This section will not delve into the topic of Lolicon or its legality, because it's a debate I'd rather not get into. Mostly because it's irrelevant in this context, and both sides can't seem to agree on whether you should be sauteed inside a brazen bull for being into it, or that you should be allowed to window shop at your local playground. Out of all the tweets mentioning the scamming, Rushdown is the only person I could find who thought this was an issue. I mean, there were stragglers of course, although Rushdown was the main one who highlighted this. I would assume that anyone who makes a serious claim like this will want to talk about it, so I reached out to Rushdown in the comments since he seemed to have knowledge of the ordeal, but he didn't respond. Go figure. Surely Rushdown has a valid reason to make a statement like this, not because he's a professional hater or that he finds Wolfgang annoying, and of course he would make sure to do his research or show proof before making an allegation. I mean, he even called the police on a crack house not because it was the right thing to do, but because they were making too much money. Truly an American hero. According to Rushdown, this all stems from a situation where Wolfgang apparently called Charlotta hot. I'm thinking there's gotta be more to this claim, like a Reploid Revo Younglings folder or something to that degree, because this isn't enough for me to label someone like that. Rushdown had this to say: "I didn't say you were a pedophile. I said you're attracted to lolly characters sexually and have defended that stance before. They were talking about how she's 23, LMAO. That's a whole baby. Wolfgang addressed the allegation, then locked their account. So I recently received accusations for being a pedophile because of maining a character named Charlotta in Grand Blue Fantasy Versus back in 2020. Being into Lolicon porn for a 1,000-year-old character. Dog, I fact check any character I play in the event that I would have even an inkling of an affinity for. I was 24 years old when Grand Blue dropped. Charlotta is canonically 24 years old. This is an insanely weird hate accusation that I am incredibly disgusted by. I think we all have more important shit to pay attention to. They be right about that. Charlotta is a character from the fighting game Grand Blue Fantasy Versus and its scamming sequel, Fantasy Versus Rising. She's 24 years old, 90 centimeters or 2.9 feet tall, who's part of the Harvan race, aka medieval Oompa Loompas. If 24 is a whole baby, then call me Pico, and I don't mean Friday Night Funkin'. MILFS. We know that they are the best. They're MILFs. They're MILFs. I spoke to Zerom, who was tagged in a tweet about this claim, in order to figure out what they had to say, seeing as they main Charlotta and was told to protect their main. Besides barely knowing Wolfgang and being unaware of any allegations, I asked if Charlotta mains have a certain stigma surrounding them, and they most definitely do. Zerom stated certain people do want to fuck these characters. Shockingly, there's zero mention of stories involving Charlotta or Cagliostro players committing sex crimes. He says there's two notable CAG players that are extremely vocal about wanting to fuck CAG. Even still, not a single word of them committing any crimes. Zerom stated that most of the drama in the Grand Blue community tends to be non-sex related, such as, I don't like this guy, or he's transphobic, ban him. If you're willing to say something about Wolfgang that'll get limited on Twitter for hateful conduct, say they like him young, or say Wolfgang's kink is children. In this context, the responsible thing to do is ask yourself this: does the person in question have a confirmed, genuine attraction to real children? If the answer is no, then in my opinion, it's a non-issue. You can have whatever opinion you want about it, I don't care. But calling Wolfgang a pedophile over an unsubstantiated claim are levels of stretching Mr. Fantastic wishes he could achieve. You're mindlessly throwing a label on somebody when there's no proof, and you shouldn't do that. Notably when we have examples like Nairo, who had 2 sexual encounters with a 15-year-old Captain Zack. Do y'all not feel weird making content with this nigga? Like at all? No guilt? None of that shit? And let's not forget how Senpai was seen getting handsy with a 14-year-old puppy. Like, you can't be serious, right? There's evidence for what Nairo and Senpai did, so why isn't there the same for Wolfgang besides word of mouth? Rushdown didn't do this as a way to call out Wolfgang and do good by the community. He wanted to virtue signal for brownie points. By making an unsubstantiated claim, he backs up by saying, trust me bro, he did that shit. Then when Wolfgang starts being called out for scamming, that's when Rushdown decides to prop himself up as a good guy so he can look justified in saying they should be removed from the community. Instead of making shit up, just say you don't like Wolfgang. You're old as fuck trying to be morally superior on Twitter. I guarantee you nobody cares. Disregard the years of scamming and owing over $10,000. Calling a lolly hot is a real issue here. So since that ship sailed, everyone else might know Rushdown as that guy who got his career started from being beaten by Rob TV. But don't take it from me, that's just something I heard. Watching you get bitched by Noah in real time was fucking hilarious. Seriously though, I don't think this is something to hold against Wolfgang, considering the talks of scamming hold more relevance and actually have proof. I get we're in the year where it's popular to expose somebody for being a predator. It's bad enough that words like pedophile, groomer, and even Diddy are being used as buzzwords. But attaching serious labels to people who don't fit the bill is extremely irresponsible. I might hate Sonic Fox, but that doesn't give me the right to support calling him a 69 god pedophile because he may or may not have said he wanted to pop a Broly boost and get freaky with Spike. Next time you want to cry wolf, show evidence or shut the fuck up. Or else I have to show you why they called me Basher in high school. Also, seriously? You're playing one of the best characters in Street Fighter 6 and you say he needs buffs? The only one who sucks is you. Adapt, nigga. With that out the way, I can move to actual issues, like the scamming allegations when the stories began circulating about Wolfgang's behavior over the years. I attempted to contact the people credited in Wolfgang's Twitch bio, Sponge Bandy Mark and Mad Hattie, to see if they had any odd experiences with Wolfgang or any knowledge about the allegations. No response. Someone else I tried speaking to was D-Nice, who clearly has prior knowledge of Wolfgang since he mentioned them having previous aliases. He even said, Buddy had a government job working for USPS and decided to fumble the role over Street Fighter. Let that sink in. He also hosted a Twitter space talking about Wolfgang, which he deleted. Judging by his statements, I assumed he wanted to speak on the topic because he clearly had something to say. So I sent a tweet on July 8th when the allegations were getting traction, which was also around the time I saw the Twitter space. A couple months down the line, I couldn't remember if I contacted him, so I sent another tweet on September 9th. He didn't say anything back. I have to question why people decide to speak on something, then suddenly go silent about a topic they clearly have knowledge about. That being said, I'm gonna get back on topic. In order to find the origin where this all started, we have to look into the first alias Julian made on Furry.
Blaqink in a furry's paradise.
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
I feel like I shouldn't have to do this, but if you haven't been on the internet for too long, Furry is basically DeviantArt for furries. You can check it out for yourself, but I highly advised against it. Save yourself the trauma. Most of the journals contain info about his daily life, OCs, or stuff like, please comment here if you're black. Just curious. Smiley face. Please comment here if you're black. Just curious. And yes, I mean African American. Or, you know it's sad when porn is starting to get boring. So I won't bore you with that. Instead, let's look at a few of these entries to see what the 19-year-old Julian was up to at the time. A reminder to all commissioners, August 28, 2014. I'm aware that my queue is pretty stacked at the moment. Part of this is my fault. However, I ask that you all please remain patient as I am trying to produce all of the content as quickly as I can. Probably gonna refund lots of people when I get my job soon. September 11th, 2014.
Most likely those who have been waiting nearly up to a year on their art. It was a bad time when I took on those projects, and it's not right to have you all waiting.
For those who have been waiting patiently for an exceedingly long amount of time for your commissions, please note me. I don't want to drag this out further than it already has. Please comment here if you want a refund. September 23rd, 2014. I've made it clear countless times that I'm a very slow artist. Despite people expecting me to have fun with their ideas, I can't see myself completing everything that's on my queue in a decently timed manner, especially with the current living arrangements. Don't get me wrong, I want to, but the urge of sitting down and drawing is starting to fade fast, due to the stress that overshadows my will to proceed, and as a result, it's starting to slow me down even more. In fact, nowadays, every time I pick up my tablet pen, I feel like every single person on my commission queue is growing more and more impatient with my business practice. So therefore, sacrifices may have to be made. If you do not want to wait any longer for anything you've commissioned me for, please leave a comment down below, so I can add you to the total that I will have to be saving up for in the following months. Commission/Patreon updates, October 23rd, 2014. I'm doing my best to get everyone's art drawn. I realized that taking on a lot of projects was seriously a bad idea. I'm reminded that there are plenty of people out there who consider me a scam artist. I am here to assure you that I am not a scam artist. Anyone in the DMV area with temporary space, November 27, 2014. I'm having a really bad issue with my mom and her guy friend, and I need some place to stay for a while until I can buy certain documents to get my ID and find a job. If you live within the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area and have a space for a black 19-year-old male, please comment or note me. Thank you, and if you can, please spread the word. I just need help. Badly. In the comments of the journal entry titled Do It on November 12, 2014, there's a back and forth with Oracle about a refund dispute back in February of that year. They overpaid for an emergency commission since Oracle thought he'd finish faster, but that wasn't the case. It's not that I'm hating. I stopped wanting to wait after I was just about to order more. When I saw a post of a sketch someone commissioned from you, that's when I started to have regrets. Eventually, everything came crashing down when the final journal entry was made on July 12, 2015. Long time coming. I will no longer be active on this account. You can find all of my newly created works at the following URLs. Being under pressure from the stacked amount of projects he owed at the time can make the prospect of closing up shop and starting fresh sound like a dream. We still have to go over Julian's next alias,
King Buffalo.
After jumping ship from Blaqink, King Buffalo was the next name Julian went under on Furry and Weasel. Rather than focus on his migration, his ban from Furry and life updates, instead, let's look at a few of these entries to see what the 19-year-old Julian was up to at the time. Commission/Patreon updates. October 23rd, 2014. I'm doing my best to get everyone's art drawn. I realized that taking on a lot of projects was seriously a bad idea. I'm reminded that there are plenty of people out there who consider me a scam artist. I am here to assure you that I am not a scam artist. Regarding commissions, January 25th, 2015. I know a lot of people have been wondering about updates with their commissions. That's because I've been planning to set up a mass refund to a lot of people that have been waiting very patiently. It's not that I don't want to complete their commissions, but lately my time has been heavily occupied beyond my control, and it's best if I try to start over, without the stress of people waiting on private services they invested their hard-earned money into. Give me some time to organize refunds for you all. It may take a few weeks. I am in danger, must move out. Please read. February 21st, 2015. If you or anyone else you know lives in the DMV area, please read. I'm having a really bad living issue with my mom and her guy friend, along with his 2 sons. I need someplace to stay a while until I can buy certain documents to get my state ID. Again, if you live in the DMV area and have space for a black 19-year-old male, please comment or note me. Thank you, and if you can, please spread the word. I just need help really badly. Hopefully you were paying enough attention to catch that. 2 posts from his previous moniker Blaqink are nearly 1-to-1 copies of past journal entries. Those entries being commission/Patreon updates and him needing to move out, just with slightly different wording. Starting fresh was a good idea in hindsight, although I guess he couldn't help himself and try recycling previous entries from his Blaqink account. You could see this as his own ignorance by not realizing he copied these entries, or knowing people would be stupid enough to fall for these posts and shell out some extra cash. However, I doubt the first theory I made, since he'd be the only person that specified where he lived alongside his age at the time. I believe he did this in order to get some extra money, regardless if he was struggling or not. Whatever the reason, the cracks would start to show as the entries continued. On May 9th, 2015, Julian posted a journal moving goal, where Julian asked for $3,000 to move. He knows he has art owed that's due, and he probably shouldn't continue accepting more work, but does it anyway so he can escape a bad living situation he was in at the time. I fail to realize the point of accepting more work while your backlog is essentially full, than asking for $3,000 in order to fund your own move. Moving isn't cheap, but anyone would assume the work you haven't started or finished would be more than enough to fund that. The mounting stress with current living arrangements, along with the large stockpile of commissions, made Julian confess to everything. On February 17th, 2015, Julian posted the truth. My name is Black. You may know me from such aliases as Blaqink, Black Note, or Panini. I'm typing this journal because, as most of you all know, my business practice has about the same amount of potential as flicking a quarter across a bar and landing perfectly into the jukebox. So, I am no Michael Jackson. What the fuck, bro? All joking aside, it has been this way for many years of my life, especially back when I first started on DeviantArt while still being in middle school at the time. But that's not why I'm typing this journal. It has come to my attention that commissions were probably the worst thing that ever happened to me. Keeping my clients in limbo when I'm obviously active and doing other things to avoid responsibility is not something I can have lingering around in my conscience. As of now, I owe nearly over $1,300 worth of commissions that were either incomplete, not started, or written off as a loss. I am not going to quit. I refuse. I am making an effort every day to finish what I owe. My name is Black, and this is the truth. I quit April 1st, 2015. I don't want to draw anymore. I'm only 19 and I'll leave the business to the pros. Refunds will be sent whenever when I can get to them. Haters, I hope you're happy. You were finally able to get me to break. This was followed by not an April Fool's joke showing us Julian folding under pressure even more, claiming he's going to finish the backlog of commissions while accepting more money as he sees fit. Already we've begun to see a pattern. Take on tons of projects creating a massive backlog, realize he can't keep up with the work, offer refunds for said projects. Then when those don't come through, he tries playing the classic I quit, I'm gone shtick before eventually leaving entirely. Also, he can start anew as if nothing happened.
The greatest scams are the ones we play on ourselves.
You don't talk to me in person? Fuck y'all. I'm done.
Once the story started coming out around June of this year, it seemed like everybody had something to say about Julian, as several people came forth about their experience with Wolfgang and their scamming habits. Whether it be by asking for extra money to cover expenses, or lying about having an accumulation of work. This is what Julian had to say in response to being called out. I don't care how many L's I take. God put me here for a reason, and mama didn't raise no quitter. If you stand by me, cool. Anyone else is a distraction. I will prove everyone wrong. In an effort to prove everyone wrong, Wolfgang began streaming on Pixel TV, and our streaming platform, to show they'd been working on commissions. At the time, it seemed like progress was being made. They even managed to crank out 2 commissions during that time, so it looked like they were finally putting in effort in order to start the work people requested. Whether it was the hate received online or the pressure to keep up with the massive inventory of old services, it clearly took a toll on Julian, resulting in another L they took before posting this deleted video made on July 1st, 2024.
You know what? I'm done. I'm done with everybody thinking I'm a fucking piece of shit. Some inconsiderate friend that is not allowed to have emotions. Somebody that hasn't been busting their ass trying to fix shit or none of that shit. Okay? I am here doing manual labor for a friend to make any kind of money I can to handle this shit that I've been dealing with for so fucking long. I'm tired of people saying that I'm lying. I'm tired of people saying I'm taking advantage of people. And this is just all hearsay, people talking amongst each other. I'm fucking tired of it. I am a human being, okay? I understand that I have morals I have to stand on as someone that has to work a fucking business. I get it's business. This whole personal shit don't got nothing to do with the fact that I owe people work or money or none of that. I am handling that shit. Literally, I'm handling it. I have been busting my ass off for the past 6 to 7 hours on nonstop labor. And for you to take a tweet out of fucking context and say, oh, it seems you're not taking it seriously. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? I just lost contacts with people who just listen to any old fucking thing, look at screenshots, not talking to me as a fucking person. I'm tired of this shit. Y'all really want to listen to any old fucking person and just believe any old fuck y'all then. Fuck all of y'all. If you don't talk to me in person, if you're not calling me up, if you're not actually hearing what I gotta say about nothing, fuck y'all. I'm done.
Once again, they exhibited the same patterns as before, except on a more grander scale due to being confronted with their actions, and broke down as a result. I can understand to an extent of being put under pressure by tons of people, but you can't dick around knowing you owe people money, then at the last minute decide to lock in, suddenly realize the reality of your situation and take a break. You've done this since you were 19, and I'm astounded you've gotten this far. I'm going to move to the document provided by Rockaway Carter. The document showcases everybody Wolfgang currently owes money or commissions to under the Wolfgang name, so it may be subject to change over time. It'll be in the description if you want to check it out. I wasn't able to get into contact with most of the people within the document to validate their stories, but everything is in the document, so it's not too much of an issue. The document is organized as follows: what Julian owes, how much it costs, how long it's taken, and if applicable, the process of either sending out works in progress or refunds.
Kaylee, 2 emotes, 80 USD, 2 months, no progress.
Hattie, payment completed. Wolfgang commissioned me to do 2 line art commissions for $75. 1 full body, 1 half body with 2 characters. I usually want payment up front, but at the time they requested to have it done ASAP within the week, then promised to pay me at the end of the week on their payday. I trusted them and had to prioritize their commission in the queue, and they hadn't paid me. Tat Wedge, refunded but still worth nothing. Full body, 220 USD, 3 months of no progress, and then 4 months of saving off refunding me with nearly weekly check-ins throughout for both stages. Not a single sketch. Smitty, refunded. Character design plus ref sheet and full body artwork. $756.32 USD. 2 months. They sent a very rough sketch of 1 pose for the ref sheet. Nothing with my Sona design. Just a basic 5-minute building blocks of any ref sheet.
Luciat, 1 full body, 110 USD. 2 years, commission paid in full, 13/04/22. No progress.
Solid Rex, 1 sketch half body, 100 USD, 160 AUD through 3 payments, 1 on the 3rd of April, 4th of April, and 29th of May respectively. Around 26 AUD was spent on medicine for him. Nothing was ever shown, and just delay after delay, excuse after excuse. Torikin, PNG tube commission was later turned into a sketch. 150 USD through installments of 25 USD. No progress shown, 10 months. Alex/Supreme, half body art of Sona with casual clothes, $150. They asked if I wanted some art since they needed some money. I thought, why not help a bro? Sadly, I was too dumb to realize this sooner. I became dead broke after that. Asking for rent money. Bro came to DMs requesting for more cash to pay their rent out of nowhere, of course. As a so-called friend, I thought, why not help? But I had to work overtime to get some more money. Tenant Dragon. I paid $50 USD for a Twitter banner and 2 emotes/stickers 2 years ago. 2 months later, I had not received anything, and Wolfgang asked me to commission them again because they needed the money. I declined. Soon after this, Wolfgang sent me the Twitter banner. Wolfgang asked for donations a year later. I declined. I have not received emails and have given up. Silent Mike 16, 3 full body idea, 1 full body pinup. $360 total. 2 years, 3 months, as of April 21st, 2022. No progress. Kept asking for help in ensuring that my comms would get done quickly. Cut him off after he failed as part of the deal. Vidal_Lion came to me asking for money. I only reached out when he found out I paid for a fursuit and asked if I would commission him, as I can afford a fursuit. Surely I can afford commissioning him. Begin to guilt trip me when I refuse to commission him. Shanks T-Hawk. Wolfgang comes up to me and EMP Obama and pleases us about how he's stuck here at the cave and has no way home. I'm genuinely a nice person that gives people the benefit of the doubt, so I went 30 minutes out of my way into DC to drop him off. We swapped discords afterwards. The week after that interaction, he constantly blows up my DMs and even calls me begging for money, to the point where my girlfriend at the time is really weirded out because it's waking her up. This goes on for about a week with a bunch of stories about how he's starving and can't get to work and all sorts of other excuses. I finally sent him $80 just to hopefully get it to stop. He promises he'll get me back within a week. I didn't hear anything back for 4 months and I finally just blocked him. There's other stories from Marsupial and Shoes that shows examples of Wolfgang's money-begging tactics. Shoes was randomly asked for money by Wolfgang in order to afford groceries that night. Marsupial's DMs showed Wolfgang begging at the end of each month for stuff they apparently needed. Kalis posted his story where he banned Wolfgang from his server after hearing multiple stories about the same thing. Wolfgang even asked for advice on how to get out of this situation, even though this isn't the first time they've done this. Julian was certainly right about one thing. Furries are predictable. Now that we cover the document, I'd like to go over Smitty's story. Even though he was refunded, I still think it's worth highlighting, as it shows multiple examples of Julian's behavior when commissioning somebody. On April 25th, Smitty commissioned Wolfgang, and they told him there were 2 people in the queue ahead of him. He sends $520 for the first commission, sending an additional $7.54 for PayPal fees for the same commission. He even states that Julian had Smitty PayPal them through friends and family in order to mitigate PayPal's purchase protection, which is against PayPal's TOS under consumer fraud. On the 29th of April, Smitty sent $228.78 for a second commission before the first one even started, saying Wolfgang needed it to cover rent, as well as another transaction for $22.10 Julian needed to get their laundry done for a job interview. However, it wasn't until June 29th of this year that he caught on to Wolfgang. I'm gonna need you to send me my money back on both of these commissions ASAP. Multiple people reached out to me and made it clear how much art you owe, and you lied saying you had 2 people in your queue ahead of me before I paid you. You said it'd take 2 weeks to finish and it's been well over 2 months. If I don't hear back from you soon, I'm going through PayPal purchase protection. Wolfgang said the following: I'll be transparent when I told you 2 people were ahead. It was definitely a desperate means trying to cover myself due to not being able to make rent for that month. I was in a really bad place mentally, but obviously that has nothing to do with what I owe you. Me lying to you doesn't make it any less disrespectful since you paid hard-earned money and trusted me with my turnaround, which didn't meet its expectations. I'll be honest and tell you that I generally don't even have the money to refund since it already went towards rent, and it would put me in a dangerous negative if you went through with purchase protection. The only thing I can guarantee is that you will be getting your commission completed within the next 24 to 48 hours. If you would prefer any refund after the fact, we can try and work something out after I'm hired at my new job, and I can pay you back in increments. The only thing I can offer right now is completing your commission. I can give you what I owe and you never have to talk to me again. Clearly, I'm in the wrong line of work. Seems like nothing makes you stack bread faster than a rich furry. Smitty, when you see this, a brother's starving out here. I can draw a pretty mean Triforce. All I need is just a small loan of $778.42. My DMs are open. Sending extra money without receiving updates confused me, but don't worry, there's an explanation for that. Before Smitty was given updates on his first commission, Wolfgang said a client backed out on them and they needed 1 more commission worth their rent money at the time. How convenient. Julian asked Smitty if he would be okay with buying another commission. They'd figure out the details of the second commission after the first one was done. Mind you, after 2 months, Smitty was sent this as a progress update and had no idea if this commission was even for him or not. Thankfully, Smitty was able to get all of his money back in late July. Huge mistake on Smitty's part, but he actually wanted to help Wolfgang at the time, which is very understandable. In the past, I've been told I'm not trying to help, so I decided to continue that trend by providing everybody with what I like to call commission green flags. Do they have a commission sheet / portfolio? It's not the end of the world if they don't have one, but every artist should at least have something that shows examples of their previous work instead of filling the media tab with memes. How long does it take to complete a certain type of work or update their clients? When it comes to freelance work, communication with your clients is key. Can you trust they can get back to you in a timely manner? Can they trust you not to freak out when they barely started on the job? It's a two-way street. As long as both sides can reach a mutual standing, you can get what you're paying for and the artist can get paid. Last but not least, what's their payment process? This is very important as some take payment up front then do the work, or want half the payment before they start and after the work is finished. The latter of the two is something I believe is a better method to keep themselves from being scammed. It's not foolproof, but it's better than spending 10+ hours on something only to get ghosted after it's sent. And to any artists watching, always make sure you get paid before doing any work. Obviously, don't spam whoever you're getting work from with messages 24/7, but if it's been longer than the requested time frame and stated, do your best to check in with them and make sure you're getting what you paid for. There's one more thing I wanted to add because this happened recently to an artist called Dex Dreamer. If you end up sharing a sketch or any updates, make sure to watermark the shit out of it. If you don't, what ends up happening is the person who commissioned the art sees you've done a portion of the work, not pay you any money, take what you've done and leave, which is what Bergfina did to Dex after insulting the work they did, saying AI could do better, then blocking them and running with their commission. Also, don't be that dickhead and complain about the price. If you can't afford it, get your money up. Or go find an artist within your price range. I send my condolences out to Dex Dreamer because no artist should have to go through that.
A promise made is a debt unpaid.
That nigga gon' pay what he owe.
Rockaway Carter is another person with his own experience with Wolfgang who provided the screenshots of the PayPal history within the document, plus a few interesting stories. One was how Julian owes the most amount of money to a pedophile. What the fuck are we doing here, bro? Or the batshit insane rumor where Wolfgang apparently has a hit on them in Chicago. Honestly, I don't have much to say about these remarks as I'm sure Carter has a lot more to say about them than I do. I just wanted to mention them because I thought they were a little silly. According to the document, the PayPal history details money that Wolfgang has owed for around 10 years. The logs list payments made from January 2015 to May 2016. A decent amount of these payments are from services like Uber, Grubhub, Patreon, the WWE Network, and so on. So instead of going through those, I wanted to sift through the 10 pages of money received during those 2 years, in order to give an idea of just how much Wolfgang owes. Page 1, $1,180. Page 2, $1,044.01. Page 3, $385.48. Page 4, $400.79. Page 5, $567.28. Page 6, $745.11. Page 7, $1,188.65. Page 8, $730. Page 9, $550.29. Page 10, $193.25. The combined total from these pages add up to $7,032.38. These payments were the main thing I wanted to discuss with Julian since I wanted an explanation about the other 34 pages of screenshots. Some payments are from Patreon, Itch, and delivery services, while the vast majority are from people they've received money from. I didn't want to try to hyper-focus on which payments belong to who or where they came from. However, you could assume with the information stated so far that the payments stem from unfinished work or favors they have yet to pay back. During the creation of this video, I made multiple attempts to contact Wolfgang. The dates are as follows: July 9th, August 15th, September 9th, September 11th, September 12th, and they finally responded to my DM on September 24th. They told me they've been busy with a hectic work schedule and moving, while also talking about Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator, Street Fighter, motivational quotes, and after seeing my messages on September 25th, hasn't said anything since. Did I mention they stream multiple times a week? So I understand if they were too busy for an interview. That being said, do I believe Julian's a scammer? Definitely, there's no doubt about that. It's hard to make excuses when you look back at what they've done. After taking on numerous projects they can't keep up with that go far long past the due date, the only viable option Wolfgang sees is to scramble for an excuse to cushion the blow when the news is revealed to the customer that they can't do the work, as they continue accepting more, thus creating a bigger backlog paired with wasted time and resources for the customers already waiting. Either that or they'll ask for extra money to cover expenses needed at that time. You don't even have to commission them. As long as you exist or do a one-time favor, they'll be on their hands and knees begging you for money. Time after time, people have placed their trust in Wolfgang. Misplaced trust, but trust nonetheless. Despite all the lies, excuses, and empty promises, people still saw them as that desperate friend in need struggling to survive. These people have taken him home, paid large sums of hard-earned money in order to receive a product as a customer. And what do? Sorry I lied about having a queue in place, I was depressed. You know what make me feel better though? An extra $200 for a second commission to pay rent. We can figure out the details later. And as a reward for your patronage, here's an update to your first commission.
I don't really want this.
On the other hand, you could definitely see it another way. Maybe these are the struggles of a slow-working artist forcing themselves into a cycle of burnout. Before this became a pattern back when he was Blaqink, he genuinely wanted to do every bit of work they set out to do. Perhaps when this first happened, as much as Julian didn't want to, he thought it'd truly be best to rip the band-aid off by telling his clients he's unable to do work by offering refunds. Maybe the young Julian thought by starting over, things would be different. However, once the pressure began to build due to delayed deadlines, they couldn't handle it anymore and disappeared. You could excuse the first instance of this happening, although second, third, and fourth chances are hard to come by. Even after finding out who they were or what they were doing, for some odd reason they kept giving this nigga money. I can't blame them too much because when Julian's been caught or caves in from pressure, they yell henshin, then don a new persona. Jokes aside, it seems like Julian is on the right track to paying people back. With a new job, they're able to send out refunds steadily over time. Those paid back in full at the time of writing our Midnight AUS, while others like Smitty, Genstar, Fall, and Hattie received their refunds. Hopefully there will be many more to follow and everybody gets what they paid for, be it art or money. Before I come to a close, I want to mention there's someone else he owes work to, and that's me. When I first caught wind of the stories, I decided the best way to go about this was to get a commission for myself. I've gotten commissions before with pretty quick turnaround times. The longest I waited was around a month or so, and the art was done by Bromo Jumbo, while the shortest times were around a few hours by Aggravated Momo, 5 days by Ponko-chan, and a shocking 12 minutes by Jones Boy. I plan on getting art done for my OC until I saw the commission sheet for a full body piece. Hard for me to justify a purchase with no kind of portfolio. So with a generous donation of $50, I chose to get a banner done for my YouTube channel. Regardless of the outcome, I'd at least have some idea of what was going on. Unfortunately, after my request, everything spiraled out of control and he vanished. I sent a DM explaining why I reached out, and now we're here. Julian, I want to make it very clear that I will not accept a refund. I'm trusting you to provide the banner I commissioned you for back in June. That would at least convince me and others you're staying true to your word. I don't want a rush job like you promised Smitty. I'm not demanding you drop everything and work on it right now, but I would like to at least hear from you in some capacity so we can work out the details. You've managed to piss off both artists and furries alike, somehow living to tell the tale, and I can't imagine you getting lucky again after this. You also pissed off the FGC, but the most they'll do is complain about it. What do? Ban you? They'll meme on you for scamming people, but when the pain-slut pup army wants to split someone's head open for covering multiple stories, everybody's quiet. These niggas will clown on Wolfgang and say they always knew, like how Punk said, "I thought I warned everyone about this scamming idiot, bro. We gotta do better and stop commissioning this fella." You're telling me a well-known FGC figurehead thought he warned everyone about a scammer in the FGC? Yeah, fucking right. Keep patting yourself on the back for that one. Why are you trying to act like you had to respond and cover your own ass? Now, the next time another Street Fighter player gets into controversy, there's gonna be more eyes on you to talk about it. I guarantee you nobody was sitting there like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Wolfgang is being exposed for scamming people. I wonder what Punk has to say about it." I'm not saying Punk is responsible for addressing anything and everything that goes on in the FGC or the Street Fighter scene in general, but if you're aware of something going on in your community, you better double and triple check you've said something about it, especially if you thought you warned everyone about it previously. Even though you have people in support of you, I can't say the same for the many people you owe something to, or those like Carter, Punk who I mentioned earlier, and Rushdown who basically called you a pedophile over an unsubstantiated claim. There are artists out there struggling with mental health, dangerous domestic situations, bills, and here you are guilt tripping, lying, begging, basically swindling people for their money for a decade. You've seen my messages and I'm sure you'll see this video. I, accompanied by the many people you owe something to, only want you to fulfill your end of the deal. No more false promises, no more begging, no more excuses, and no more starting over. Let's hope you stay winning after this is over, because it'll take a lot more than a couple of refunds to fix your reputation. If you enjoyed watching the video, like and share it around. I have another channel called Platform God PK that I'll be posting content on soon. I'm sorry this took so long to come out, but I've been bouncing between working on this video and drafting the script for the next Shinblade video. I'm waiting for the situation to conclude legally so I can work on it. By the way, if you're watching this near the holidays,
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy everybody, Happy Holidays. And if you have a problem with Happy Holidays, then happy shut the fuck up.